Megsy,
Oh, hello.
how are you?
I'm good.
Nice to hear your voice, sir. I'm telling you, the listeners have been begging for you to come back on the show. And they asked me to pass this on to you. A round of applause.
Oh, well, that's very flattering.
For all of the new listeners who we've picked up over the past 4 weeks, this is Megs, who is my son. And if you go back through the back catalogue, you'll often hear his wise voice coming out, talking about things that he barely knows about, really. Madonna, Kylie, music, lots of things, right?
I'm very wise, like an owl.
You are. And you look a bit like one as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's right. And you stay up at night.
Yeah, I'm definitely a night owl.
You tend to coo when you're a little bit frightened. Am I right?
Yeah. And when you mentioned the person you wanted me to talk about as well, I said, who?
You said,
I don't know who.
That's right, you did. Because we're meant to be talking about Troy Sivan, and how Troy on Sivan. Earth you don't know who he is like, for example, you are partly South African, but mainly Australian. He is exactly the same. He was raised in Perth. He's very Australian. He's the hottest thing in pop right now, and he's Australian, but he's got South African heritage. And he looks a little bit like you too, you know?
Oh, maybe we're distantly related.
Maybe. He's got your forehead. Got the big South African forehead like you guys have. Haven't you heard I Feel the Rush?
I feel the rush.
I feel the rush, addicted to your touch. Oh, I feel the rush. It's so good. It's so good. You know that?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Look at the video. It's so on point. Like, he is an absolute superstar. It's not what we're here to talk about, but I need listeners to go and look up Troy Sivan to support an Australian artist for a start. But I promise you're onto a global emerging star. He's about to release his 3rd album. He reminds me a little bit of like a much more modern and sophisticated and hip Ollie Alexander. Sorry, yeah. Ollie's a little bit like your old grandma would love Ollie sort of thing, that sort of entertainer. Your grandma wouldn't like Troy Sivan.
Right.
Like, they'd look at the TV and then they'd turn away with a little bit of your nanny, for example. She'd look and she'd turn away with a slight look of disgust on her face.
Yeah.
You'll know what I mean when you see the video clip.
Yeah. Well, I like the sound of him.
Now, your sister corrected me on Troy Sivan, by the way. She does know who he is, but I was singing I Feel the Rush, addicted to your tush, because I thought that's what it said. I feel the rush, addicted to your tush. And that's what I've been doing for months. But she said, that's not right.
What's the actual line?
Addicted to your touch.
Oh, yeah.
And if you saw the video clip, you'd understand it's not completely random. First of all, in pop, certain songs sound like that, right? So we get that.
Yeah.
But if you saw the video clip, it basically is just 3.5 minutes worth of tushes.
Well, I can see your confusion.
Some in jock straps, some in bikinis, some in little football shorts, some wedged right up, some barely on at all. I mean, that's why I'm confused. So will you look it up?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. He sounds good.
Yeah, no, he is amazing. He really is. I'm very proud of him. He's a very humble guy, or at least he's trying to be humble. I think he genuinely is, but he's learnt that art. Megs, why am I here? You're wanting to teach me about something today.
Well, yeah, I love this new Doja Cat song, and I think I have an interesting bit of information about it.
You're not doing this from a car, are you?
Well, how do you know that?
Is this the life of a uni student? Is it you can't even afford to do a podcast, can't even deign to find a room?
Well, there's people everywhere, and they'd be talking in the background.
Not in your room. There's not people in your room.
There's people in the room. No,
this is a boy who's leading. You're not even leading. You're off campus now. I was about to say you're leading the dorm life, but you're off campus now.
Yeah, well, share house life. So.
Okay. Well, this is the first, I think, somebody podcasting from a car, but there you go. What are you, balancing the big, huge laptop in your lap?
No, it's comfortably next to me.
Is it
it's
really?
Very nice setup, actually. It's like a studio in here.
Is it really?
It's actually really good.
Oh, good. Maybe you should get some soundproofing in there. Might be helpful next time. Anyway, what am I learning from you today?
Well, there's something about Doja Cat's new track that I haven't seen anyone talking about, although people probably are talking about it. I probably just haven't looked hard enough. But I've been talking about this for ages. This devil/Satan theme she's been going for, right?
She's been going for a devil/Satan thing. Well, there's something you don't hear every day.
Yeah, well, so she had TikTok, and I was following it quite closely because she's quite a funny lady. She's quite peculiar, and she would post like these strange TikToks like that. Sometimes I didn't even understand what they were, and they were just so random. But then one day she just deleted all of her TikTok posts, just like all at once. And she changed when she did that, she also changed her profile picture to like this scary image of like Satan, of the devil.
Right.
And this was ages ago. And everyone was like, what's she doing? And all like Christian people got like up in arms about it, saying like, oh, well, she's a Satan worshiper and all this sort of stuff. Like fundamentalists got very upset. And then, but I knew that it would be part of like an album or song promotion. I knew that it was going to be like the build up to something, and she was just adding a bit of mystery to it.
Just in case anyone on the planet that doesn't understand this concept of deleting everything from your socials, just in case you've been hit on the head with a plank of wood, it's nothing to do with wanting to go off the radar. It's actually the opposite. It's the ultimate look at me, look at me, look at me. It's just pathetic, actually. But anyway, keep going. So then she relaunched with all this rubbish about Satan and got all the rednecks upset. And then what?
Pretty much. That's what she was doing. And I read articles where she was saying like, like these people that, she was trying to like provoke a reaction in them, I think, and it was like getting people all worked up, like she's actually a Satanist, she's a Satanist, like all these fundamentalists. So but like I was excited because I was like, oh, so this is the theme of whatever her next album's going to be, and I was exactly right, and I'm so proud of myself because now she's literally released this song, "Paint the Town Red." Yes. And if you've watched the video clip, have you watched the video clip?
I sure have. It's racked up about 25 million views already.
Yeah, which is pretty good. It's it's just it's not exactly subtle. Or
is that what you'd say to her if you met her? By the way, can I just clarify that point? Doja Cat, she lands in Newcastle, Australia, and she's at the Waratah Mall, and you happen to pass her. Would you reach out your hand, shake her hand, and say, "Yeah, 23, pretty good."
Well, I mean,
not too bad. Good effort.
Yeah, no, it is good. It was released. The video clip was uploaded like 3 weeks ago now, wasn't it? Something like that.
Paint the Town Red. Do you recommend people go and look at it?
Yeah, definitely. And just, the video clip, it's trying to shock, and it's got all the Satan images. And now she's also released a second song, and I was lucky enough, like I went onto YouTube, and it was like Doja Cat released, in my recommended, it was like there was a Doja Cat video clip. And it had only been uploaded 2 hours ago, and it was this song called Demons. Right. So I watched this new song of hers, Demons, I think that's what it's called, before it even reached 300,000 views.
You're one of the first. There you go. So that's only been released very not long ago.
Yeah, and it's like, where my demons at? And it's a pretty terrible song. Actually,
isn't it really? Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it will grow on you, though. Maybe it will grow on you. So
I don't think so.
Because Paint the Town Red, which is the one that you're talking about, tell us about the song, because it's very laid back.
Yeah, it is laid back, actually. It's not, like, particularly upbeat. It's sort of cool. It's groovy. And it's big on TikTok now. People are making dances to it. And the dances are surprisingly, like, up-tempo, actually. Like, they're quite fast, but they really work with it, even though it's quite a laid-back song.
Yeah, well, she's obviously got a big campaign coming out. It's been a while. It's been at least a year since your cat lady's been on the scene, that's for sure. And now she's back. And look, for our regular listeners who are rolling their eyes and going, I'll never look that up because it's not produced by an ancient pop star. Well, I'm asking you to go and do it. It's a really good track. Look, this might get people in, Megs. I don't know if you remember well, you wouldn't remember, you weren't born, but I don't know if you know about Janet Jackson, Don't Know What You've Got Till It's Gone. She sampled a very famous line and turned it into a real funk song, I think for Velvet Rope, and it was fairly amazing. And this is exactly what Doja Cat's done, because it's wrapped around a hook from a sample, a famous song, don't you?
The Paint the Town Red is.
Oh my goodness! I thought this was going to be about you educating me, but as usual, I have to be the father here. Are you settled in that car? Are you reclined?
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you know who Dionne Warwick is?
No.
Okay. All right, listeners, help me out here.
I know Warwick Davis.
Do you? Warwick Davis, right, yeah. He's your neighbour, isn't he?
He's a comedian, British comedian.
A British comedian, yes. I'm sure he's very funny. One of the most famous comedians ever that came out of Britain had the surname of Carrot. And that was about as funny as he got. All right, let me try again. Burt Bacharach, do you know who he is?
No.
Oh, God, okay. This is really hard.
Should
we terminate the call? Hang on, all right. No, be patient, be calm. Burt Bacharach, who only recently passed away in his 90s, about 6 months ago, I think, he wrote so many, practically all, it's probably an exaggeration, of the hits of the 60s.
Right.
He worked with Barbra Streisand. He was a writing partner with Elvis Costello. Does that help? Elvis Costello ring a bell?
No.
Okay, all right. Scratch head. Oh, God, I feel like the freak out of Wentworth. I'm going to replan. What am I going to do next? Okay, all right. No, dead men tell no tales. No.
If you say enough names, eventually I'll recognise one of them. Sure.
I know. All right. So, all right, Burt Bacharach, let's go back to him. He's worked with all of the best, okay? And you will know nearly all of his songs, I would say. He wrote a song for Dionne Warwick called Walk On By. Never heard of that?
Walk on by.
Yeah, kind of. Oh, this is so hard. Anyway, I think you should just YouTube Walk On By. It's a very famous song. Then some weird country singer went and sang it in front of Obama and Michelle Obama.
Right.
Anyway, that's by the by. Point being, Walk On By is one of the most well-known songs from the 60s. Dionne Warwick recorded it, Burt Bacharach wrote it, and now Doja Cat, who you're trying to tell me this is a great song, Paint the Town Red, and it is, by the way, it's a great song.
Yeah.
It is all wrapped around that, much in the same way that You Don't Know What You've Got Till It's Gone by Janet Jackson wrapped around a sample from around the same era.
Oh, that's really interesting, Dad, because she actually does that a lot, Doja Cat. Like, there's this other song called Freak that she's got, which samples this oldies song, Put Your Head on My Shoulder.
Right.
It's got, put your head on my shoulder. And she samples that in Freak. It's literally at the beginning of the song. And then the beat of the whole song is hip-hop, but it uses that like melody throughout the whole song. So I think she likes doing that. There's a few other examples of her doing that as well.
Well, for Doja Cat, it's not just in this case, with Paint the Town Red, it's not just a sample, it's a homage. Like, it's the black empowerment. I mean, Dionne Warwick was everything. She was a trailblazer. So she's paying homage to Dionne.
Oh, well, that's really cool. So it's a particular melody in the song, is it?
Practically the whole thing, except for Doja Cat going, your money, your money, your money, your money, your money, your money, your money. Besides the rest of it is
same. Yes,
Dionne Warwick.
That's the same as Freak. Yes, it's like, besides like what she's done with it, it's the same exact bass.
The star of that video clip, Megs, is her enormous breasts and her enormous ass.
yeah, definitely. It's a lot of things like that. But the lyrics are really interesting. Like, I should have got them ready in front of me. But I like one of the lines as well. She's like, "I look better with no hair," because a lot of people made fun of her for like shaving all her hair off as well.
Yes, and she's wearing a lot of wigs in this. But there are a few scenes where she's maintained at least half a bald head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, as usual, I love Your Cat Lady. I really do. I think she's produced some of the best music over the past 5 years. And I do like her personality too. However, she does this thing that your young generation of pop stars do. They create fictitious enemies. Haters never hate. Like Taylor's really good at it. Everyone's a victim, and there's these other people out there, God knows who are out to get you and tear you down. Madonna does it too, big time. Like fight the power, fight the people, don't let the haters hate. And it's like when you actually drill down and go, well, who are these fictitious people that you're scaring everyone about? They don't exist.
But celebrities do deal with a lot of like people that would hate on them, and she probably gets like all angry mail and stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like most celebrities would deal with that, and so it's just a message to them. She makes an art form out of sort of hitting back. It's great.
Yeah, hitting back at mythical creatures, exactly. And it's been a theme, Megs, on this show for the past month, and I'm not getting much support, so I'm completely in the minority, where I just think this idea that, I mean, for example, we had a wonderful man on our show not long ago talking about all the sexism and the ageism that Kylie has faced throughout her career. But when you look at it, the woman has never been bigger, never been greater, never been more popular, never been more successful. She's barely had a lull in her career. Well, by anyone else's standards, they wouldn't be considered lulls. And yet we're still determined to say that she survived all this despite the sexism and the ageism. Come on, give me a break. There is no systemic stuff. It's all business. The comparison I make, and then I'll finish. Poor Megs, he's going, here he goes. The comparison I'd make is a children's clothing shop is not discriminating when it doesn't stock big girls' blouses for adult women. Okay, it's business. The radio stations are allowed to play what they want to play. Have I gone off topic, by the way? We were talking about Doja Cat's Paint Town Red, and then we were talking about mythical creatures and big boobs.
No,
I can't
it's
remember
fine.
how we got here.
Tangents are good.
Thank you. But you've heard this one before, right?
Yeah, probably.
All right, Megs, it's been great having you on the show. Well, and for all those listeners that have been looking forward to hearing your voice again, well, consider yourself duly satisfied now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and can I leave with also recommending Charlie Puth's new song, Lipstick.
Oh, Megs, it's not up to much.
I like it. I think it's great.
Oh, it just sounds like he's sort of taken snippets of all his other stuff and glued it together in a very boring way.
Yeah, it does sound very similar to his other stuff. I think it particularly sounds similar to his other song, Girlfriend.
Yes, it does. It's got the same.
Yeah, it does. I like it.
How many songs does the universe need about lipstick on people's collars? I mean, get over it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a very sort of, I don't know. It's a good song.
Anyway, look, here's the thing. Our listeners have now had a healthy bowl of Megs. So they're very happy now. And for those of you who have never met Megs, because there's a lot of new listeners, Megs, over the past 4 weeks, this is Megs, my son, who creates makeshift studios out of very old and probably unsafe vehicles.
Yep. It's surprisingly good. It's great. Like I can watch the traffic go past as I talk to you.
Sounds like a wonderful, wonderful life. Thanks,
it's well
Meg.
insulated. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, and everyone should go listen to Tension.
Coming to you from the mountain fortress of pop culture. You're listening to Time to Talk.
It's a little strange, it's a little bizarre, it's slightly off the wall, but it just might work.
What is it, Dorothy?
Well, hello, and welcome to the Fortress of Pop Culture. I'm Tim. How's your week been? Has it been Kylie-tastic? And tell me, are you one of those funny little latecomers who thought Tension was fairly mediocre at first, but possibly now you've come to realise that it's perfection? It truly is such a cracker of a song. So keep listening. As always, you and I are going to put all the pressures of the world aside just for a little while as we dive into what we love the most. Sweet, sweet entertainment. Close your phone, turn things off, do something you haven't done in ages. Concentrate on one thing at a time. Just tune in and relax. Today, we're going to be hearing from a bunch of people who have very, very sore feet. Now, don't panic. This isn't a podiatrist's convention or anything like that. We're just going to find out what it was like to meet Dannii Minogue in the flesh. We're also delivering you some additional evidence, just in case you needed it, that Kylie is hot property, and possibly even hotter than you might have realised. She's broken the internet once again. You probably know she's doing the Audience With TV show again fairly soon. I was surprised to learn that that is actually been staged at the Royal Albert Hall, unlike the first time she did it. And the online queue for this event was insane. Did you manage to get tickets? Thousands and thousands didn't. If you're a huge Madonna fan, make sure you listen to our next episode. It's all about the Queen and her impending tour. How exciting. It's just weeks away now. And listen, do you like Prince? Back in the day, he released an album that was specifically designed to hook you and I into his kingdom. He'd been known for music that was a little bit aggressive, a little bit rock, but there was this pressure after a bit of commercial failure to go a bit more mainstream. Now, I didn't know any of this at the time, but it actually makes perfect sense, because in the early 90s, he just blew up the pop world with Diamonds and Pearls. And someone like me who hadn't been particularly interested in Prince, like I liked him, and obviously some of his songs absolutely adored, but wasn't following him. But people like me, and you, I believe, started paying attention. Now, that little gem, Diamonds and Pearls, the album, which, by the way, it's a bit of a favourite of our Kylie, it's about to be re-released in a mega deluxe fashion. We are speaking all things Diamonds and Pearls shortly. Now, you listened in last week when we went tension crazy, and I really do want you to know that I am so incredibly grateful to everyone who sends messages and leaves comments and thumbs up, and when you rate this show, it keeps it free. But I particularly love that interaction. Lots of you sending your messages through after the last episode, and you all just went off. The feedback for the video tension, and of course the song, it was loud and it was divided. I'm handing it over to you now, Kim. Well, you and the star of Dynasty.
Hello, this is Kim from Finland again. So I was just listening to your tension episode, and of course in my headphones, as you pointed out so politely. I always listen to podcasts when I'm walking my dog, whose name, by the way, is Blake Carrington. If you get it, you get it. Yeah. So I have some mixed emotions. I sort of like this song, but I don't love it. And probably mainly because I can't sing along to it. It's like I don't get the words really. And also the video, there are so many references that I, as a Scandinavian, shout out to Nathan. I'm single, so call me. So maybe I don't get the references. But Kylie looks stunning. I always love this when a woman is like a natural beauty, and she is. I love Kylie, don't get me wrong, but I'm not really into tension. It's good, but and it's playing in my head, so it's obviously a hit song, but I don't love it. And all the best to you. See you later. I'll be back. Bye.
Whenever I listen to Tim and his panel of guests, my toes begin to curl, and I feel just the right amount of tingling all over my aching body. Now, let's get back to the show.
Nathan, how are you?
I'm all good, thanks. How are you?
You're not so good, are you? Look, the phone just started pinging and pinging and pinging, and I kept getting this screenshot, the same screenshot from multiple people, and I was like distracted. I was actually working, so I was just looking at it going, what the devil is that? And then eventually I worked out all these people were in the queue. What were they in the queue for, Nathan?
Well, they were in the queue to go and get a ticket for an audience with Kylie at the Royal Albert Hall. It was absolutely hectic. I think what I could see, there were about 9,000 people in the queue altogether. So I was about 6,000. Hope was lost at that point already.
You were literally 6,500 or 8,000 even in the queue. What was it?
No, I think I was 7,000 when I started. Yeah, I was about
7,000, right?
6,800 in the queue when I started, and there was about 10,000 in the queue, something like that.
Now, just minutes ago, though, what popped up on your screen?
The pre-sale has now ended, and we won't be getting a ticket. What's even more unfortunate, though, is that I know somebody who was number 80 in the queue when that pop-up came up.
Number what, 80?
That's just so... 80, number 80 in the queue. That's so sad.
Oh, that's... Yeah, well, look, it's sad for all of you. I mean, you're right. Apparently, you've told me the Royal Albert Hall has a capacity of, 12,000 or so. But we need to adjust that for the celebrity component, which would be quite significant, I'd imagine. So the leftovers for the plebs, like us, wouldn't be that
I would
much.
think 9,000 tickets are going to be sold, and the bottom area of the Royal Albert Hall is going to be quite sparse of people. So yeah, it's a real shame. But the only thing that I can hope, and I genuinely mean this, is that like I've been very fortunate when it comes to Kylie. I've been very, very fortunate. I've gone to so many of her events. I've won tickets to things. You know, I've done these things. I just hope that the tickets that I didn't get today have gone to somebody who wanted to go to all the things that I've been to.
Don't say something so sweet. You're breaking my heart.
It's true, though. I do. I hope that. I really hope that.
So
I'd be
lovely.
gutted. I'd be gutted to know that these tickets that we've all been trying to get have gone to somebody who maybe doesn't want to go to all of these events and just wants to go because it's an audience with or anything like that. I just hope they've gone to the right people.
A mega fan, right?
That is all I'm bothered about.
Wow. Well, that is a very sweet sentiment. I've got to say,
it
really is. Well, good for you. But look, is the fight over? Because that was a pre-sale, and then you were telling me this extraordinary thing that
it's ridiculous.
To go into the next sale of tickets.
Yeah. So the next pre-sale is the Friends of the Royal Albert Hall pre-sale. I don't think I'll be doing it. I mean, I could. I'm thinking.
Yeah, but tell us what that involves, because I was a bit floored
so you
by
have
this.
you have to actually pay for a membership. I think it's about £45, and it's like an annual membership of the Royal Albert Hall, so you get access to pre-sales at specifically the Royal Albert Hall for the rest of the year or whatever. And yeah, so that membership is £45 just for the privilege of sitting in this queue.
So what's the opposite? If you're an enemy of the Royal Albert Hall,
if you're an enemy of the Royal Albert Hall, you're fucked. You're not going. You're not going into that pre-sale. Yeah,
£45. Which the thing is, that's like I think around 90 or more Australian dollars for those of you who are converting. Do you know what it is in US for those US listeners?
Oh, I would guess about $60, maybe $65, something like that.
So it's not small, it's not chicken feed, and that doesn't, even if you elected to do that, if you could afford it, you're still not guaranteed a ticket. Just lets you.
Oh no, you just get the
into the
privilege
queue
of waiting
again
and seeing if you get one. Yeah.
So that's a hard decision, to be honest, for a lot of people to make.
I would do it normally. I would just be like, oh, I don't care, and I'd just do it. But I am trying to be like a bit more money conscious at the moment because I'm saving for a house and stuff. Which unfortunately, buying a house does have to sometimes come before Kylie. Like it's very rare. But when it comes to paying £45 for the privilege of queuing, that's where I'm drawing the line. If this audience with ticket was £200, I would have bought it. I think they were actually quite cheap. From what I can gather, the better tickets of the lot were £120, which I actually think is really reasonable considering what kind of an event it is.
In Vegas, she crashed the computer systems multiple times.
Absolutely.
And now at the Royal Albert Hall on the opposite side of the planet, she has crashed the system. I couldn't believe the numbers when I finally realised they were there at the top of all. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who sent me screenshots, and I apologise that I didn't reply to all of you. I didn't know why you were sending me this spam all at once. I should have realised something was going down. But you're all in the queue. I was preparing for bed. I was putting my dressing gown and my slippers on and doing a little bit of work and ping, ping, ping. So thank you for all those people that were letting me know. But what staggered me was that number of people in the queue. We have the evidence of it. Thousands and thousands of people to see Kylie at the age of 55. Like, she is hot.
You know, though, Tim, that's not that surprising to me. It really isn't. That is quite a common occurrence with Kylie. It really is. People take getting tickets to go and see Kylie really seriously.
Well, yeah, I agree.
That's pretty much what I'd anticipated, to be honest.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Well, especially now while she's a hot commodity. But look,
absolutely.
And I'm not saying it's ever easy to get Kylie tickets, but for Golden, yeah, rang up, got the tickets, pretty straightforward. X, pretty much, because she'll add the show after the show. But at the moment, like, it is a privilege to get your hands on tickets to see Kylie at this stage of her career. It is
absolutely.
The silver lining is this is an incredible era.
Like one of her absolute career pinnacle moments, which Padam was, as much as it may not have looked it in terms of statistics, it absolutely has been one of like her career absolute peaks. I think for the amount that she had stacked against her to push the way that she's pushed and to actually get Padam into the mainstream, it's incredible.
Nathan, I'm really sorry you missed out on your tickets.
Oh, it's okay. Don't you worry about it.
You sound a bit sad.
I am sad, but like I say, as long as they're going to the right people, I'll get over it. It is what it is.
Thank you for sharing with us.
But no worries, anytime. It was lovely talking to you, Tim.
Sometimes amateurs know best, and a lack of professionalism is all you'll hear on the Time to Talk show. Join Tim and his panel of guests as they wade their way through a range of news, music, and pop culture treats. Time to Talk, the show hosted by amateurs for unprofessional listeners.
There are three things I love in this world. Kylie Minogue, small dimples just above a woman's buttocks.
Beautiful features.
And the fear in a man's eye who knows I'm about to hurt him.
Well, if you can believe it, it has been 20 years since Dannii Minogue released her fourth and potentially best studio album, Neon Lights. And look, she celebrated it in style with a signing at the Rough Trade East record store in England. I don't know if it's in London or not. Forgive me. I think it is in London, though. People were queuing around the block, my friends. And there would have been even more people there if they hadn't done a bit of a ticket sale, I think they did. So you had to get tickets to actually win the chance or to earn the chance to be in this queue that went all around the block. Hours of waiting. But as you're about to hear, people didn't mind. It was all worth it. And she was every bit the star, the gracious star, I should say, by the sound of it. For those of us who've been around for the long haul, we know that it took Dannii a bloody long time to find her own identity. And we're so glad that she has. And in my personal view, I don't think she truly found that identity until she had a child. In fact, if we go back to her autobiography, My Story, I think it was called, have a listen to this. I found myself facing a barrage of unflattering press coverage, bad record sales, and most hurtful of all, mean, unfavourable comparisons to Kylie. Only a year or so before, I'd been voted the world's best female pop star in one magazine, and now, in Smash Hits, the readers had voted me the worst female artist of the year. After that disappointing chart position of This Is the Way, MCA decided that they no longer wanted me on their roster. And in another part of the book, Dannii talks about those comparisons once again. She writes that the press were all over Dannii's fashion faux pas and Kylie's triumphs. Hey, isn't Kylie bloody fabulous, everyone? And isn't Dannii tragic? I can tell you, it's not easy to be publicly pitted against someone that you love and admire. It hurts. The truth of the matter is that I never felt like I was competing with my sister, and I'll say it again. I never felt like I was competing with Kylie. I just wanted everything I did to be the absolute best it could be. And then ... it wasn't because I hated her and felt jealousy towards her. It was the opposite, in fact. I was always the first one Kylie would excitedly play her new recordings to for an honest opinion, and she'd always invite me down to the dress runs of her concert tours, knowing that she'd get a candid critique from me. The truth is, I am, and always have been, so very proud of Kylie, and she is of me. I think all the Dannii bashing headlines often hurt Kylie more than they hurt me. So listen, with all of that history, and many of you share that history with Dannii, I do, lining up around the block to meet her and to have your copy of Neon Lights autographed, signed, and hopefully to exchange a bit of a chat with her, it's pretty special. And it was pretty special for Grace, Sarah, Barry, and Mark, who you're all about to hear from. This is what it was like queuing up to meet Dannii Minogue.
Hi, my name's Grace. I'm from Southeast London, and I met Dannii Minogue yesterday at her Neon Nights 20th anniversary signing. It was really fun. The queue experience was not as fun as I would have liked it to be, as we were standing for a very long time, but we queued all around the block of the building for 4 hours until it was our group's turn. Actually, I wasn't in a group, I went by myself, but you went in groups. But I brought in a drawing that I had done of her, because I not to sign, I just wanted to give it to her, but I'd worked kind of hard on that, so I was like, I would like her to have that and to see it and to know that I'd done it. So I got my LP when I got into the building, and could see her from a distance. I was like really excited, and then when I got to my turn, you give your phone to the person there who will take loads of pictures for you, and I gave her the LP to sign, and then I also gave her my drawing, and she said she loved it, and then she asked if I knew about the TV show, the Portrait Artist of the Year show. I said I was familiar with it, and I think because she was on that once, and she asked, she told me I should be on it, which was very flattering, and she signed my LP, and she was like, wait, do you want me to sign this picture for you as well? I was like, no, that's for you to keep. And she was like, oh, good. She said that she was going to have it framed, and I said, I was like super flattered. I didn't really know what to say. It was very sweet of her, and I said, I wrote my socials on the back, like my Insta. I don't know why I said that, but I don't know, in case she wants to tag me in it, if she ever posts anything about it, which would be like a dream come true. But yeah, no, I had so much fun. Everyone was very nice. We also got to write in her little book that she, I think, so there was a drag queen there called Just May, who was on Drag Race, actually the UK version, and she went around the block, like down the queue in heels that she'd been in since like 1 p.m, which I couldn't understand because my feet ached after like an hour. And yeah, she brought around the book and we all signed it, put a little message in there for her. I said about how I basically just thanking her for her music being an escape for me, and saying that she was like, she's always been in my memories ever since I was a kid, because I mean her Girl album came out the year before I was born, I think, or the year of when I was born. So and like, you know, she was on X Factor when I was a kid, and so she's always been in my memories, and I've loved both the Minogues. So I mean, I'm seeing Kylie in Vegas in January, so I'm very stoked about that. But yeah, no, my experience meeting Dannii was great. She is the most flawless human being I think I've ever seen in the flesh. Like, she looked me in the eye and I didn't know what to, like my brain melted, because she's got these like piercing blue eyes. They're like slightly green, but they, you know how like when you look into someone's eyes they've got like lines in their irises, but she has like just pure ocean blue eyes, just like pierce into your soul. And like, she looked me dead in the eye and I was like, I don't know what to say. She's extremely beautiful. And I showed a picture of us two, like, because obviously they took a picture of me and her holding up the album and also my drawing. I showed my picture to my mum and she went, "She looks younger than you." I was like, yeah. I mean, it's so true. And I said, "She's 50. And she went, "No, she's not." I was like, "Yeah, she is." But yeah, like, she's the sweetest. She's so sweet. She hadn't gotten up for a break the entire time, which I found insane. Someone had told us that in the line, like someone that she worked with, I guess, at the Rough Trade East, where the signing was taking place. And I was like, how was her hand not cramped up? But no, she fully, like, people were taking the mick as well with the amount of things they'd brought for her to sign. And but she's that sweet. She will just sign it all. Very humble, very, very nice. Actually took time to, you know, talk to us and not just, you know, sign it and then you walk away. She's also so tiny. Like, her, oh my god, like, I felt like a giant next to her. Even though she was sitting, she's extremely very small. No wonder she has to come out with a petite range. But yeah, no, I had a really fun time, even though my feet are still killing me. And yeah, I will cherish that LP and the fact that she loved my drawing forever. If she does frame it, then that would be so amazing, like, to think that she did. So yeah, that was my time.
My name's Mark and I'm from Leamington Spa in the UK, and I got to meet Dannii at the record signing at Rough Trade in London. It was a really great experience, apart from the long wait outside, but once we got in and you saw Dannii, everything just faded away. I told her how great I thought her music was. Now I've been listening to it for quite a long time, and she just looked amazing, and she was really nice, and, you know, it was a very good experience.
My name's Barry Noakehart, and on Saturday 2nd of September I travelled from just outside Southampton in the UK to meet Kylie Minogue at Rough Trade East in London. It took me 3 hours to get there, and I queued for about 4.5 hours, and I met her for about a minute and a half. She was lovely. It was brilliant. by the time I got there, I was about halfway in the queue, and it was a massive queue going all the way around the road, just round. It seemed like there were way more than 300 people that the tickets were allocated. After about 2.5 hours, somebody came round and said that we could only have 2 items signed. And I'd bought quite a few things, really wanted something old. But I was going there with a view of getting my Neon Nights pitch disc signed, and I needed to get one for my best friend as well. So I ultimately decided I would get mine signed and his signed, because he always gets me things signed whenever he goes anywhere for people that I can't attend. So I did a nice thing. It was a lovely day, quite warm. Dannii was amazing, really friendly. She looked quite tired by the time I got to her, and I can't imagine how much longer it went on for after I had my stuff signed. I then had to travel on to Oxford to see friends, and I was in the queue waiting for her longer than it took for me to travel from Southampton to London, and then from London to Oxford.
Hi, my name is Sarah and I am from Bradford in England. Yesterday I had the fantastic opportunity to meet Dannii Minogue at a signing in London with 300 fans. What an amazing experience. I managed to share some childhood memories with her about dancing to Success and Love and Kisses and entering talent competitions. I told her that we'd made lots of friends out in the queue, which was amazing, and she thought that was absolutely brilliant. But I think in general it was just absolutely amazing to have one of your childhood idols in front of you and to share those precious memories as a little girl, and then obviously growing up through the different eras. It was just really lovely to actually be able to stand there and talk to her and just tell her how much we love her. So I have always been a massive fan, and I am a team Minogue through and through, both with her and Kylie. And I want Dannii to understand how much we love her in the UK. So much love in that queue yesterday, and I've come home with my 2 LPs signed from when I was younger, as well as the fantastic pitch disc that she's released for the 20th anniversary of the album. As well as I feel a good few new friends, but I also caught up with a lot of other fans that I've not seen for a while, when we've been to various other events, and it was just a lovely experience to share with everybody, as well as learn about everyone else's memories. We also got asked to write our memories in a book, so Dannii had sent a book out into the crowd, and we all wrote our personal memories. So I do hope she enjoys reading those, because we definitely put thought into what we were writing. And once again, it was a lovely touch to know that she will take those memories away with her. So thank you very much, Dannii, for giving us the opportunity to meet you, and we hope to see you very soon with new music and new earrings on the QVC range, because I've loved the jewellery. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.
They were pretty special stories, right? Amazingly personal, and obviously meeting Dannii was well worth the wait. For our Grace, Sarah, Barry and Mark, thank you so much for sharing those stories. And Dannii Minogue, you truly are a warrior. You've hung in there for all of these years. Come back, make some great music again. Make a whole album. You're listening to Time to Talk. Tell us, how long have you been a Prince fan?
Oh man, I've been a Prince fan since I want to say the age of 7.
Really?
Ironically, 7.
I'm surprised you were allowed to watch it at the age of 7. He's a bit saucy.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. My parents took me to the drive-in to actually see Purple Rain. That was 1984. So that's when I was became exposed to him, a little bit more. Yeah.
What a way to get inducted into the Prince world, right? Drive in, Purple Rain.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
true.
nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was it about him, do you reckon, that grabbed your attention?
Oh man. Well, you know what? Because I was so young, I think it was more so the performances that resonated with me. But there was a few things in the movie, and I don't really want this to get too deep, but there was a few things in the movie that stood out, and that was because my mom was actually, she was in a relationship at the time that was abusive at times, and so that was something that was happening in the movie, you know. So yeah,
It was
and
talking to you.
yeah, definitely, yeah. So I saw that, and yeah, then there was a situation with a gun, and you know, so yeah, it's pretty. So those were a few things about it, you know, that resonated with me as well. Besides the music, you know, but I was just super young, you know.
Tori, we're here to talk about Diamonds and Pearls, the album, which I
Okay.
absolutely love, and I don't know too much about, and I deliberately haven't looked it up because a
Okay.
super fan like you will be able to educate me. But just, I'm always interested in fan communities when their idol is either in ill health or going through some sort of scandal or distress, or
Mhm.
of course when they pass away unexpectedly too. That must have been a terrible shock to you when that happened.
Oh my gosh, yes, it definitely was. Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. I really do, and it was really tough. You know, I at first I didn't know. I had gotten a text from a friend of mine who asked. You know, she said that she'd heard that there was a fatality at Paisley Park, and you know, that was the first thing I think that came up on TMZ, that you know there was a fatality, and so, but they didn't say who it was at that time. So yeah, so then I sort of just kind of waited around. I was trying to reach out to people that I knew to see if they heard something. Nobody knew anything at that time, and then we just kind of, you know, we waited a few more minutes, and then it came up on TMZ that it was Prince, and but there was so much going on, you know. But yeah, it was crazy that day, you know, and I didn't want to believe it.
Mm.
So I had actually called my mom. She was out, and of course, you know, um, we don't have stereos like that in the house anymore. So it's just everything is like either on the computer or, you know, you have like your own, like I'm a DJ, so I have a DJ mixer board and everything. So I wasn't able to really like turn on a radio. So I called my mom and I asked her, I said, you know, where are you? And she's like, I'm, you know, on my way home. And I'm like, can you turn on the radio? And so she turned it on, and she's like, yeah, she's like, there's Prince playing. And I said, okay. And I said, well, can you turn to another station? And she said it was Prince again. And she was like, what's
Mm.
going on? And I said, well, they're reporting that he had passed away. So yeah, so it was just downhill from there, you know, for me.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine what a shock that would be. I mean, but there were some warning signs. If I recall properly, and maybe I'm not, there was a
Hmm.
plane that had to be turned around because of a medical emergency not long before he passed. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, he had actually just played Atlanta, Georgia. He played the Fox Theater,
Right.
and I believe that might have been the 16th, April 16th. I'm not sure if it was April 16th. I think he had a date on the 14th, but he canceled. Well, he postponed it to the 16th because he was sick. And then after he did the show on the 16th, I believe there were two shows. And then afterwards, he hopped on a plane. I did hear there was supposed to be an after party, but then it wasn't. So he hopped on a plane, and apparently he went unconscious on the plane, and they were near I think it's Moline, Illinois, which is kind of like, I think, a suburb of Chicago. And yeah, and they had to do an emergency plane landing there.
All these years later, do fans know why he passed away? Because when I read the internet, which is a dangerous thing, Tori,
Hmm.
HIV,
Oh,
broken hip, like lots of bone fractures, so he was on high levels of pain medication. That's what I'm reading. What's the truth?
well, well, I mean, according to the reports, like from the toxicology reports, is that, you know, he passed away from an accidental overdose of fentanyl, and they said that it was so much fentanyl in his system that it was enough to kill like 8 elephants. And you
Wow.
know, he was already a small guy. You know, I think he's like 5'2" and 112 pounds at the time of his passing.
Mm.
So that's what was reported. But a lot of fans, a lot of us are divided because you have some that believe that, hey, there was a problem where he was, dealing with a lot of pain, and then he got addicted to painkillers, and then somehow that led to his addiction. The addiction going into like the overdose with fentanyl. But then
there were paparazzi photos. It's all coming back to me now. There were paparazzi photos of him leaving a pharmacy with a little swag of, well, we don't know what was in the bag, but that added to the speculation, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. There was a lot of, there was video, like you said, he went to a doctor's appointment, and then he had some blood work done, and I think he was dehydrated. So they hooked him up to an IV, and then he went on about his way. And then I think what happened was his assistant, Kirk Johnson, was the person that actually went to the Walgreens to pick up the medication. But from what's being said is that, Kirk dropped him off at Paisley Park, and then that was the last time he saw him until the morning when they discovered him. But, there's a whole lot of talk about, it was ruled a homicide, but there's still also a lot of talk about, he actually it was a setup.
For conspiracy.
Yeah. Because
in the fan community, because that's who I trust the most, because they do the most research. They often don't reach the right conclusion, but they've done their research. You said it's divided in the fan community about how he came to pass.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there's a young lady that actually she does a lot of videos on YouTube where she breaks down all of the investigation reports and how it was pretty much a botched investigation with the police. And then all of the things, there were so many inconsistencies, about how he, passed away. And it was just so many different things that were like, it was unlike Prince, like there were talk about, him not taking the elevator in Paisley Park, but they found him in the elevator, dead. And then of course his clothes were inside out. And then they said there were pills all over the place. And so
his
it just
clothes were inside out when they found him?
Yeah. That was actually in the investigation files too. Yep.
What's that about? I can't even speculate. Why would his clothes be inside out?
Well, for people that do believe in the conspiracy thing, they tend to think that's a form of humiliation. And Prince was extremely private, and he took on Warner Brothers, for many years, and they just tend to think somebody, has had it out for him. And that's how it happened. Yeah.
Is there anything that we know for sure? For example, this idea that he would wear these massive platform shoes, jump off pianos during performances, and he went all out in his live performances. I saw him a few times.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that he was, every time he did that, he was adding little micro fractures to bones and everywhere in his hips, in his joints. And is that confirmed, or is that just speculation as well?
Well, yeah, he did have to have a hip surgery. I believe it was a partial hip replacement. And I don't remember what year that was, but I think it was like around, I'm not sure. It had to be like somewhere around, maybe around after musicology, I believe it might have been. But yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. And I can imagine that he did have like a lot of wear and tear on his hips. And, the fact that he wore heels all the time, because he started later on, exchanging the heels for like platform shoes,
right?
The thicker soles. Yeah. So I believe that I believe he was in a lot of pain. Yeah. But I don't necessarily believe the attic, scenario though. That's just my personal opinion.
Sorry for being so voyeuristic. I've just realized I've fallen into that trap. But the HIV, where does that come from? And is that just absolute rot, or is there some possible truth to it?
I don't believe there was HIV. I don't. The only thing that, and I don't know any of this to be fact, but the only thing I could think of is that it could have been cancer, because if you were following him, like year by year, when he released Artificial Age in 2014, he performed on Saturday Night Live here in the States. And then a lot of people were questioning the way he looked. And then, of course, he appeared on American Music Awards, and he looked really frail, and he didn't look like himself. So then it just seemed like he was just deteriorating, so we really didn't know, but everyone was talking about it, that he just looked different. But it happened rapidly. It really did happen rapidly. So
he looked unwell before he passed.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, it is sad, isn't it? And it must be frustrating for fans not to know. I don't know why it's important, but I'm a fan of many, many celebrities and singers and musicians. There's a comfort in knowing what happened, I suppose, and you guys don't, and maybe never will.
Yeah. And with the laws in Minneapolis, well, Minnesota, the state, they won't let anyone. It's sealed, and it won't be open until like maybe 30 years from now. So a lot of the core fan base is going to be, a lot older. Some of us may not be here, so we may never know.
Wow, 30 years.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Listen, he was an enigma in life. Prince seems as mysterious in death as he was in life.
Yes. Yeah. That's the only that I can't even speak on that. It's the truth. That's the way it happened. It's just like, the same way he lived his life, not so open. But I will say that, like, even when he passed away, there were photos that leaked of him, like you said, in the elevator. And, to me, it was just kind of odd because there hadn't been a lot of other celebrities that we, at least to my knowledge, didn't see, their death photos being, posted online like that. So that was kind of weird too.
Who was he? I've got a good take on most of the celebrities. Like, they have the outer crust, which is the celebrity they present to the world, and you can dig away if you're a super fan and find out pretty much who they were as a private person. Prince, I've got absolutely no take at all. I can't work out who he was. Eccentric. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah.
Who was Prince?
Well, he was a musical genius, that's for sure. He was self-taught. He taught himself how to play 27, instruments by ear, because his dad left a piano at home, and he taught himself how to play. He was also a son, and he was a brother. He was also, a husband at one time, and he was a father, and I think that was another thing that was, I think that hurt him a lot too, is the fact that, he had, a son that didn't survive. And then I think that his wife might say she was pregnant a second time, and then that didn't happen either. So, but a lot of us.
Did he have children though? Does he have children?
No. He tried twice with Maite, his first wife. And
I know that there's music he wrote about the death of children, right? Yeah. And of course, he was married again, and her name is Manuela Testolini. She's now married to the R&B singer Eric Benet. But I don't know if they tried, because they never had any children during the time that they were together. So yeah. And very prolific. Like, was like always writing. I was shocked to learn. Nice segue here, Tim. That Diamonds and Pearls was the 13th album he released. He has a lot of music in the vaults, right?
Yeah, a lot of music. They're saying it's like thousands of like songs that some of them he mentioned in interviews that he did not finish, and then there were some that he thought, they weren't good enough to release. So yeah, it's interesting.
It is, and I know fans in every fan community, they bay for blood. They want those vaults released, and sometimes it's very underwhelming when they are touring, I've got to say. Yeah. You wait years for a song that has a certain title, and then when you hear it, you go, oh, I wish they'd left that in the vault, actually. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about Diamonds and Pearls. And the reason we're talking about it is because it's about due in October for a super re-release, which is super exciting. This was 1991. Tori, how would you describe Diamonds and Pearls, the album?
Well, Diamonds and Pearls, the album, actually was a big shift from anything they had done before, because it was an album that was more focused. It was a commercial pop album, but it had a lot of hip hop influence to it. It was definitely more hip hop influence. And I know that Prince was, at one time, he didn't really like rap and hip hop. And I think then when there was a shift from like the 80s, going into the 90s, where hip hop was kind of like taking over on the charts, he had to like sort of reinvent himself. And then that's when he actually, formed a band called New Power Generation. And it was a more collaborative band too, because for the first time, there were musicians that he allowed to like play on most of the songs, whereas he always did everything himself. And then he had like hip hop dancers, and he had a rapper by the name of Tony M, who wrote on the album as well. So it was a commercial success for him. But he had just suffered from commercial failure with Graffiti Bridge in 1990. And,
so can I pick up on that? Is it true then, because of that commercial failure? Excuse my voice. Gee, you can tell it's 6:30 over here. I didn't even have a hard night. Let me just tap my chest there.
no problem.
Is it true that the record company, and this might be one of the first intersections where he started to absolutely loathe, record executives and companies, is it true that they were sort of pressuring him to be more commercial?
Yes, there was, because he actually, I believe it was, he had a successful run after Purple Rain, but it wasn't like he was selling, the albums at the amount that he was selling them, but they were still successful records like Sign of the Times and Around the World in a Day, but they weren't up to like Purple Rain standards. So what they did was Warner Brothers decided to, reach out to him about, doing the Batman soundtrack, which actually put him back on top.
Yeah.
So he did the soundtrack, and that was
most of his success was attached to movies too.
Yeah,
he hadn't had a number one, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's true.
At that stage of his career, that wasn't attached to a movie.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
but you can't hear the pressure in the product. Sometimes that happens. A lot of pressure, then the product you can feel the rush. But this is a great album. How's it? Here's the thing, Tori. I was the very person in the community that they were trying to get to. They were trying to, in my opinion, make his music maybe a little bit less aggressive, more accessible, slightly more pop twang. So he got me. I liked Prince very much, but my hand was not up as a Prince fan until this came out. And when I heard the ones that like Diamonds and Pearls and Cream, I was on board. But is it true that some critics and even maybe some fans saw this whole project as a bit of a sellout at the time?
Yeah, a lot of fans. There were a lot of people that did think that, hey, this is not authentically him, So I think when it came to having the rap artist a part of the band, and, a lot of the fans, they were so used to the experimental sound of Prince. So this was, like you said, it was more commercial. And a fun fact for you to know is that after Graffiti Bridge, since it didn't do well in the States, I don't think it did well anywhere, but he actually hired Michael Jackson's former manager. I believe the guy's name was Frank DeLalo, and he was behind like Thriller and Bad. And so Prince hired him when it was time to do the Diamonds and Pearls project. And then, of course, that's when Prince just sort of like blew up, again, all over again. Like he was all over the place on award shows, Special Olympics, television shows. There were people that actually didn't like it. That's like one of their least favorite albums. They thought it was just too much. I've heard people say they thought it was a lot of filler on the album, but I actually love 90% of the album. There's a couple songs on there that I'm like, okay, like there's Jughead, which is kind of funny, but I'm not really a big fan of it.
Now that's interesting. You mentioned Jughead because I think it's probably if you were to take a poll, it's probably the one that comes out at the bottom. And he's recently, well, he hasn't. His estate has released, is it Alice Through the Looking Glass?
Yes. Yeah.
Which must be one of the songs that were in the vault recorded around this time. And I've heard a lot of fans saying that they wish Jughead should have been at the time replaced with this one, because Alice Through the Looking Glass is fantastic.
Yes, it is. It is. But when I listen to it, I don't see where it fits, because it's so different. To me, it actually reminds me of the Graffiti Bridge era.
Right.
Like it could have fit like next to like Thieves in the Temple or something. It just seems a little different from Diamonds and Pearls era for me. But it's a great song. I love it. Get Off actually was released, I think it was released in May of 1991. And that song was not originally planned to be on the album for Diamonds and Pearls. Horny Pony was actually going to be the song in that place on the album. But because Get Off did so well, he decided to take Horny Pony and put that as the B-side to Get Off. And
Horny
put that on
Pony. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think every song has like a different feeling to it, and it's just, to me, it's an eclectic, mix of songs.
What stands out to me about Diamonds and Pearls is the journey. Like he doesn't just shove all the great tracks up the front of the album and then the rest is filler.
True.
I mean, first of all, I don't think there is filler on this album. If you
I
think
agree.
there's filler on this album, I don't think you're concentrating. Some of the tracks take a bit of thought and concentration. You've got to give them a chance, basically, in my opinion. But yeah, you're working through this album, and it's not all the hits and then the rest. Like you've got Money Don't Matter Tonight comes sort of later in the album from memory. I think the order of the album is really interesting too, because again, always say this: listen to it from start to finish. Takes you on a journey.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Insatiable is a great R&B song. You know, I remember, you know, like it was really big on R&B radio here. And I know a lot of the ladies in my family, they definitely love that record. So yeah. Yeah.
He was very sexual, probably as an artist in general, but this album was very sexual, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. But he had a way of kind of like sliding that, you know, that sexual, you know, like how he wrote songs. It's kind of like sliding it, you know, through the like underneath the popcorn masses. Like it could be a naughty song, but he's great at disguising it. So yeah, it was a lot of that.
Very playful, right? In the way he does it. And I think a lot of people miss that. If you look at, I think it's Get Off, is that the one where he's sort of talking about somebody that he's heard a rumor that she's not getting enough? Is that one? Yeah, right. That's very his use of words. Is that something that's celebrated in the fan community? He's very clever with his words, right? He loved wordplay.
Yeah, a lot of the fans love that. You know, love that about him. I think a lot of us now, it's because of music and how much it's changed and how the artists are more straightforward and they'll say just anything. Prince actually just had a way of, you know, like I said, disguising the, you know, the more taboo stuff with something we got it. We knew exactly what he was talking about, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's what I loved about the wordplay, you know, when it came to Prince. He knew how to write a song.
Left field question. Why is Get Off spelt with 2 T's? And what was his thing with numbers and symbols and like it really bothers my sense of, you know, grammar.
You know what? I'm not sure. And you know, as a person that has followed his career for so long, I mean, I always thought it would, I know that you said it kind of annoys you. With me, I thought it was kind of cool, but I don't know. Like, I'm not sure why I know like the number 7 was his favorite number. But I don't know. A lot of us would call it Prince Ebonics. Yeah, because it's just like whenever you saw that, the way like if you saw like I Would Die for You, you know, with the U, you know, we knew that it was a Prince thing, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think he kind of started that. But I'm not sure exactly where he got that from. Cool.
What can you tell us about Cream and the video for Cream?
Oh gosh.
And what the hell is it about?
I can tell you that the 2 ladies that were, you know, portrayed twins, they weren't actually twins. And, you know, they were for that project as Diamond and Pearl. That was their names, Diamond and Pearl. And so, I just don't. I can say Tina Landon, for people that know about the choreographers, like Tina Landon, who worked famously with Janet Jackson, she was the one along with Jamie King. They actually choreographed that film, that short film. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know exactly. I think that's another sexual innuendo with Prince.
I'd love to talk to the man. Who wouldn't, right? But
yeah,
is it something about rising to the top, like Cream rises to the top, and is he? Because a lot of this music, the lyric, if you listen to the lyrics, there's a lot about sort of up yours to the critics, and I'm at my peak, and I'm at the top of my game, and I wonder if Cream follows that theme, like Cream rising to the top. This is me at my best. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing about good music. It makes you wonder, makes you think. It's like art, right? And you're not meant to actually know. It's what it means to you.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, it was actually partly shot at the Union Station in Los Angeles, California. And I guess like the video, it kind of, and if you look at it, it was like more of 1930s, I guess, kind of vibe, you know. But then he also kind of had it more contemporary. So Prince, he just always fused a lot of things together. So, yeah.
What do we know about this re-release? It's called the Super Deluxe, or something like that, right? It's got a super name. Has it stirred up excitement in the community?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. The there's like 7 different versions of it.
Really?
Yeah, there are 7 different versions of it. Yeah, and I believe the vinyl set has already sold out. That's what I was told.
Wow.
For people that apparently people love to buy vinyl now again. So
they do.
Yeah,
on every different color possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. But I think the great thing about this set is that you have like the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe Edition, which is 12 LPs, and it has a Blu-ray, and then it has a Blu-ray as well. And there's this really thick booklet that has a lot of photos in it, and it kind of tells you about each member of the New Power Generation, and I guess gives more like maybe some of the questions that you might have. It might give more details as to how this album, the process, and what certain things mean. So yeah, so that's one. And then of course the one that I'm actually going to get is the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe Edition, which is they're all the deluxe edition, but this one's the 7 CD with the Blu-ray, because I'm not a vinyl collector, but I love the CDs and I want the concert. That's what I love the most. I want to get more visuals. So
what the concert will be on it, is that right?
Yeah, but it's not
Diamonds and Pearls tour.
It's actually not going to be the Diamonds and Pearls tour. It's going to be the Prince and the New Power Generation live at Glam Slam. So I'm not sure why they're not releasing the tour, but it's live at Glam Slam, and it's got him performing all of the songs from the Diamonds and Pearls album. And I think the only old songs that he plays on it is 1999 and Baby I'm a Star.
I went and saw him, I think 3 times when he came to Sydney in 92, I think it was, with the Diamonds and Pearls tour. Yeah. And every night it was different. It was mind-blowing to me because I'd never seen that before. I thought I was going back to see the same thing, but nope. Different set list, different flavour, different length of time. I'm sure one time he lingered on that stage for hours more than he was meant to. It was amazing. He was absolutely phenomenal live.
Yeah, he was known to do that. Like, I believe like the band would rehearse at least 150 songs.
Wow.
And they never had it planned. It was just whatever Prince decided he wanted to do, like sometimes at the last minute.
This has been an awesome little walk down memory lane. This album meant a lot to me. I had it on high rotation in 92. I know it was released in late 91, I believe, but I had it huge. And he was just everywhere. He was a hot commodity in 1992. I couldn't. Is he still Prince? Do I have to call him the artist formerly known as Prince? Did he ditch that? What's the story there?
Oh, he ditched that. Yeah, he ditched that a long time ago, back in 1999.
That was something to do with just a contract dispute, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. He got his name back in the contract ended 1999 and it was early 2000. He actually threw a big party called the Celebration. That was the very first one in 2000. I actually attended that one. And it was a week-long party, and he was back to Prince.
And it was a week-long party to celebrate the fact that he got his name back?
Yeah. And he invited a lot of his friends. Macy Gray was there, Mint Condition. Who else? Of course, I believe Larry Graham and Graham Central Station. I know there was a few of them that were back-to-back. Sheila E., there was Nora Jones. Gosh, it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember, but it was such a great time. And he was so happy, he was so happy.
He was a real innovator. I've got to ask a very quick question for all the Madonna fans that tune into this podcast. What did you think of her tribute?
You know what? I'm a huge Madonna fan, and I actually was really excited when I heard that she was going to do it. I thought she did an okay job. I mean, it's considering the song. I love the song, but I didn't really think it was more her style. But I'm so in love with Madonna. Yeah. She can't do any wrong for me. So a lot of people butchered it, and they said, "Oh, well, she shouldn't have done it." But Madonna even said that she had reached out to Wendy and Lisa and a few other current band members at the time, and everyone was still grieving. So she couldn't have anyone to join her on stage except for Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
What was it on the Like a Prayer album? It was Love Story? No.
Love Song.
Love Song. Yeah. I love that track too. A lot of fans don't, but I love that one. It's so quirky. I think we're too harsh. She came out and did a great tribute. Yeah, I probably, if I was advising, I would have went, don't go for that track. Go for something, that you could be more confident settling into.
That's true.
But nonetheless, it was fantastic that she paid homage to Prince.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, Mr. Tory?
Well, I am on Facebook. They can find me at Tory Sands, and it's spelled TORRESANZ, like zebra. And also, I'm on Twitch. I am a DJ, so I play a lot of Prince music. I have Prince nights. I also have Madonna nights too, and it's actually twitch.tv/we live the number 2 we live to get funky. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
I love it. I love it. I love the fact that there are other people out there trying to keep the era of the megastar and the true pop era alive. Thank you, Tori, for everything you do. How exciting. October, roll on October, and let's get our hands on the deluxe edition. Lots of, I'm assuming, I don't think you mentioned, but lots of bonus tracks, I'm assuming as well, right? That we haven't heard.
Yeah, there actually is. There's let's see here. There's actually 3 discs or 3 LPs that will have like unreleased music. So there's going to be stuff that there's going to be like an early mix of Insatiable, like also like Live for Love. There's an early version there. There's Cream Take 2, Diamonds and Pearls.
Cream Take 2? What do you mean?
It says Take 2. So it must be a different take on it.
Wow.
Because he made different
that's
versions.
Exciting.
Yeah. There's also a longer version of Diamonds and Pearls, but then there's songs like Open Book, which is a fan favorite. A lot of people don't have the professional like version of that. We have like
the demo or something.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Also, for the Rosie Gain fans, Prince wrote the song My Tender Heart, and he's got his version there. And then there's another song I wanted to just kind of shout out, and that's called what is the song called? It's called Tip of the Tongue, and it's El DeBarge actually recorded the song, and we've never heard Prince's version of it, and that's going to be in there too. So Vault 1, Vault 2, and Vault 3, and they all have like maybe 12 to 13 songs on each.
Sorry, I didn't know. Vault 1, Vault 2, Vault 3, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. So it's worth it.
The fans have waited a long time, to get their hands on some of this stuff. So it is a really, really exciting time. And for those of you listening, and if you're a little bit more of a casual Prince fan, go back and listen to Diamonds and Pearls. Yeah. It's so cool. I've been listening to it in preparation for this over the past few days, and the memories it brought back, amazing. What a great piece of work. Hey, Tory Sands, I hope you've had fun.
Thank you. I have. I would love to come on and talk to Madonna sometime.
Oh, you're very welcome to do that. Do you know how many Madonna fans are rabid? I can say that because I'm one of them. They're rabid. And do you know what they say to me, Tori? When there's a Prince segment, for example, on the podcast, they go, "Can you just give us a timestamp so that we can skip the bullshit?" And I'm like, oh, right, okay. I'm so sorry that the whole hour and a half isn't Madonna.
Come on. Yeah.
You're welcome to come back and talk Madonna whenever you want.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for even just considering me to have this time with you to talk about.
It's been amazing. I've really enjoyed it. You take care, Tori.
Okay, you take care too. All right, good day.
Well, unfortunately, it's now time for you to leave the fortress. But I promise you are welcome back anytime at all. You and I are warriors for the age of the megastar. And quite frankly, there aren't many of us left. Next time, we're talking all things Madonna, and I would love to hear from you about that. Please don't just be a listener, be a participant. If you have thoughts or predictions about this celebration tour specifically, or what Madonna's up to these days in general, please pull out that phone audio recorder, speak from the heart just for a few minutes, and email it to me. timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. So head off now, say some prayers for Jimmy Fallon, may he rest in peace, and try not to picture Barack Obama getting sucked off whilst doing crack cocaine in the back of a limousine. There is so much happening in the world of pop right now, and I truly can't wait to speak to you again.